What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, alright, we're coming back to John Frusciante. Yes, indeed, John Frusciante Fans FEELIN YOU. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bobbidi-bob, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Arya Post, and Arya Post wanted to see me react to this song by John Frusciante called Inside a Break. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a minute, hang on, yeah, I have heard this before, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was posted by John Frusciante Topic, okay? And the video has 17,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Inside a Break. That's all I got. It does say John Frusciante up here. Inside of Emptiness, I'm guessing that's the name of the album. So I hope we're in the right place. This is the link I was given, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here, I guess. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Inside a break, there's only moments that hide. Every mistake is really worth a try. I know a way a lot can be refined. Hand me a cross and run for your life. Any good luck is a falling tree. I'm no one and no one is me. All day to call some kind of faceless guy. Someday you see is just a day in a guise.
That's never good when the hi-hat's loud and everything else.
Busiest days, there's really nothing to do. I go away to turn the dark to light. Don't look at me when you're not in mine. Sounds so good to him. Reflections occur within. Unwind so called.
The sweep is really nice. Really smooth sweep. Really smooth sweep. I like it. I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend to you guys that I'm loving this. I'm not loving it, but I am liking it. I am enjoying it. There's some really cool things happening here. Number one, that's sweet. Great use of dynamics that we heard there in that first phrase. It built and built and built up to a certain point, and then it, without any decrescendo at all, it just dropped very suddenly, very abruptly. And everybody came down in unison, which I thought was really nice. That choke, the cymbal choke, it was louder than everything when it came out. Now, the first time I heard it, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was a little put off by it. But the second time I heard it, I remember thinking to myself, that's the second time he's done it. It's been the exact same. So that's not an accident. That's not an oops. He's intentionally doing that. And it served a purpose. It did serve a purpose. And as much as I might have been put off by it the first time, it's because I thought it was a mistake. It's not a mistake. You do it once, it could be a mistake. You do it twice the exact same way, that's not a mistake. That's intentional. And I think I see why they put that in there to be so loud and abrupt as opposed to what everything else was doing. Remember, we just came off a very sudden decrescendo where everybody came down and we're all down here. And then this, just came out of nowhere, that choke. And it's like, whoa, where did that come from?
That's an attention getter.
It's attention getting. It's absolutely attention getting. And it does it in a way that it gets your attention. And this is going to sound like an absolute contradiction because it is. It's abrupt without being abrupt. You know what I mean? It's so hard to describe. It is abrupt, yes, but it's abrupt in a way that is not meant to be anything more than abrupt. It's not supposed to be offensive. It's not supposed to be curt. It's not supposed to be any way that's going to turn off the listener. It's just supposed to basically not kick you in the face, but slap you in the face, just to kind of, not even hard, not even like you're cupping your hand and going, pow, like that. No. Like, we know how moms used to be, right? They used to cup their hand, boy. Boom. Oh, man. Oh, that was the worst. No, it's not that. It's just like a fingertip slap, like that, just to kind of, get your attention, but not do any damage. Just get your attention. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what that was. Like I said, the first time I was like, what the heck what are they doing? But then when they did it the second time, I was like, oh, I get it now. Okay. Everything that they're doing sounds good. Everything they're doing makes sense. Like I said, I'm not loving it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm in love with this song. Oh, it's the greatest song that John Frusciante ever wrote. I'm not going to sit here and do that. But at the same time, I am going to say I'm digging it. And I know that's weird coming from me, right? But it's the truth, man. I'm actually digging this song a little bit. Let's keep going here. It's got that rawness to it. I love that. That sweep is just so clean.
It's false, but it speaks to me. Places are gone when there's no one to see 'em. I got a pain that spans millions of lives. Going to where we'll dive into the sky.
There it is again.
Any old way is a new way to be. There's just no cause for beating anybody.
Come on.
All us kids, we like to climb to fall. Once we've been, there's nothing better at all.
Okay, I know you're gonna call me crazy, and that's fine. You're more than welcome to. But I kind of feel a little bit not in the drums. It's strictly in the guitar. I feel a little like a Latin feel, or maybe a Spanish feel, like a flamenco feel, sort of, without the flamenco style of playing, without the fingers, but being done with a pick. But kind of a flamenco style approach to the playing, as far as the feel of it goes. Maybe not technically. I'm not, because, you know, flamenco is usually done with fingers, but definitely from a feel standpoint, it feels a little bit flamenco-ish in the guitar playing against the straight ahead 4/4 of the drumming, you know, standard, you know, rock drumming. It's a nice blend. I think that's why, more than anything, I think that's why I'm enjoying the tune. It's because those two are marrying together really well. Better than I thought I would ever expect it to be. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I'm digging the song. Anyway, let's finish this out and we'll get to the review. Really fast vibrato or tremolo. That's a pedal. I believe that's either a tremolo pedal or I believe it's a tremolo pedal. Almost, like I said, the guitar almost emulated a Hammond right there. That was kind of cool. That was kind of cool too. There's really not a lot to talk about, but like there's like 2 or 3 things to really talk about here, but those 2 or 3 things deserve to be discussed at length. So I'm going to do my best to keep this review short, but I make no promises other than I'm going to try my best. But yeah, you might want to strap yourselves in. You might want to go get something to eat. You might want to get a snack, maybe get something to drink, because we might, I'm not saying we will be, but we might be here for a while. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was John Frusciante with Inside a Break. This was a request from Arya Post. Okay, I'm a bit of a quandary right now. There's not a lot of things to talk about. It's not like I have a list of like 14 things. There's really only 2 or 3 things I really feel are needing to some discussion here. But the thing is, those 2 or 3 things, the discussion is possibly going to be quite lengthy. So I'm going to do my best to keep it as short as possible. But if I feel the need to go off on a tangent and, you know, dive in deep into the things that we're going to be discussing here, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make no apologies for it. But just be aware, I'm going to do my best to keep it short. I'm going to promise you that. I'm going to do my best, but other than that, I make no promises, okay? So, having said that, let's start off with the score. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that an 8.2. Yep, 8.2. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
John Frusciante, I think, might have the record for the most spread when it comes to scoring. It used to be Radiohead. Radiohead, I've given Radiohead scores up in the 9s, and I've also given Radiohead, if I'm not mistaken, I've put them down in the 2s with 1 or 2 of their songs. I mean, they have a wide spread. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Frusciante actually beats that. I've given John 9s. I think I've given him 1 9 actually. It's either 1 or 2 9s. And I've also taken him down into the 1s. I mean, there is a large gap there. There is a huge spread. And I've given him scores every point in between. I've given him 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 5s. I don't think I've given him any 4s. I don't think I even gave him any 3s, but I know I've given him 2s, and I know I've given him at least 1. So he's, I wouldn't say polarizing, but he's definitely covered the entire width of my scoring system. He hasn't gotten down in the zeros yet, I don't think. Wait, or has he? There was that one that I actually took there was one reaction I did to Frusciante. I'm not kidding. It was like the last 34 or 35 seconds of the song. It was so bad, I had to take my inners out. I took them out and I threw them on the desk. I'm like, that's it. I can't listen to this anymore. I'll let it play for you guys, but I don't want to listen to this anymore because it was that bad. But at the same time, I've also heard other songs from him where I put it up in the 9s. I actually called his songwriting brilliant on that song. So it's diverse. So I always go into a John Frusciante reaction with, I come in with an open mind, but at the same time, I'm very, I wouldn't say leery or hesitant, but I'm very, maybe skeptical, maybe, because I don't know where this is gonna go. I mean, I see John Frusciante, we're reacting to John Frusciante today, and it's the song called Inside a Break. Okay, well, let's see how this one goes, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the approach I take when it comes to John Frusciante. In this case, I really believe this was a great song. It was, and the thing is, a lot of the greatness that was happening from some very simple things. Number one, the dynamics in this, very well executed. For what I believe is just a rough recording, it seriously sounds like someone put a microphone in the middle of a room. They had the drummer, the bass player, John on guitar, and on vocals, just all facing that one condenser mic, and everybody played to it. They did some testing, obviously, for levels, you know. Okay, bass player needs to turn down a little bit, drummer, watch your accents, you know, checking everything beforehand before they did this rough recording. This sounded really rough. It does not sound polished at all. This does not sound like it was mixed professionally. It sounds like there was no mixing done at all. It sounds very, very rough. But even with that rough recording, number one, there's a little bit of a charm to that. Number two, and the reason there's a charm is because of the roughness. It gave it that edge. It gave it that grit. And I would dare say, and I don't want people to dig too deep into this, but kind of in a very, very, very slight way, kind of gave it a little bit of a punk attitude, which I thought that was really cool. The thing is, and I know people have asked me about this before, why do I have such a problem with rough cuts? I don't have a problem with rough cuts like this, where all the levels make sense. Everything sounds good. Like, you can hear everything, and it's balanced. It's rough. You can hear all the background noise. You can hear the hiss of the guitar amps. You can, you hear all the feet shuffling and people talking in the background stuff. You can hear all those things, but at the same time, when it comes to the instruments, everything is balanced. Everything makes sense, and you can hear everything clearly. I could hear the bass clearly. I could hear the drums clearly. I could hear the guitar clearly. I could hear the vocals, all the vocals, including the harmonies. I could hear it clearly. I didn't have to go searching for it. My problem with rough recordings is when someone literally put a microphone in the middle of the room and nobody checked for levels. They didn't do any pre-records. They didn't do any testing to see, okay, is the bass too loud or is the drums too close to the mic? Or no, they just put a microphone in the middle and they went for it. And as a result, it sounds like absolute garbage. And everybody's just kind of blending together. And everything is kind of, turning into this like coleslaw, just kind of blah. Coleslaw with way too much mayonnaise. It's just blah. And it's just like, okay, well, that just happened. You guys ever had that coleslaw where, your aunt makes it and she loves Miracle Whip. Boy, she loves Miracle Whip. As a result, the coleslaw is like, you got some cabbage in there, you got some onions in there, you got some, greens in there, maybe some microgreens in there, maybe some julienne carrots in there, and then half of it is Miracle Whip. And they take that spoon and they splat it down on your plate, and it just goes black everywhere. And it splatters on you, and it splatters on the person next to you, and it's like, oh my God. Aunt Susie, would you please cut back on the Miracle Whip? You guys ever had that? That's how those rough recordings sound sometimes when people don't do the pre-checks. This sounded like they took the time to do some pre-records, check levels. Okay, bass was a little loud, let's turn it down. Drums were a little close to the mic, let's move them back. Okay, let's try again. And after the third or fourth attempt, they finally got a good mix. And that was where we ended up with. And I appreciate that, number one. And number two, I applaud the effort of actually taking the time to do that. Because number one, just for yourselves, it makes your life a lot easier when you're the musicians and you're doing rough cuts before you go into the recording studio and record professionally. It gives you a much clearer idea of what every single instrument is doing, what every single instrument is playing, and how every single instrument sounds with each other. That's number one. Number two, on the off chance that you decide to release this rough cut, it's a much more enjoyable listening experience to us listeners when everything is leveled evenly and it sounds good, as opposed to that blah that we get from so many other rough cuts. So I appreciate that and I applaud it. The dynamic usage was fantastic in this. I love the fact that when they came down, they all came down. Everybody in unison. When they grew, they all grew in unison. It wasn't staggered. Everybody came up together. I really liked that. And everybody came up consistently together. Everything was level, except that choke cymbal hit. Now, I talked about that at length in the reaction. I'm not going to talk about it again. I thought it was really cool. After I heard it the second time, I was like, oh, I get it now. Ding, light bulb went off. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. Vocally. Now, remember, this is a rough cut. I'm not, it's not going to be polished vocals here. You know what I mean? But for a rough cut, it actually sounded pretty good, especially the harmonies. There were a couple of places in the harmonies every once in a while where I don't know who was off, but somebody was a little off, and you could hear it because they would correct themselves. You know what I mean? So you know it was a mistake, but they quickly fixed it. So I appreciate the effort of them, actually recognizing that it was a little off, and you could hear whoever was doing the upper part, adjust so that it fit the context of the harmony. So that was really nice. But the vocals as a whole, I didn't have a problem with anything in the vocals. They weren't whiny, they weren't breathy or airy, they weren't nasally. It sounded really good, actually. I dug it. The bass playing sounded solid, drumming sounded solid. I had no issue with either of that. The guitar playing with that sweep, really liked that. Really nice. Sounds like he's picking. And I caught onto this at the end. Now, like I said, call me crazy, but it felt to me like John was, I'm pretty sure John was the guitar player. It felt like John was taking almost a flamenco-esque approach to his guitar playing without playing a flamenco style, but having kind of a flamenco influence in what he was playing. Not in how he played it, but what he played. Obviously, he playing with a pick. He wasn't doing finger style like flamenco typically does, but it sounded like almost he was taking a flamenco style of approach to what was being played. That sweep, very common in flamenco, using the back of your fingernails to, stroke down the strings to the upper strings. You get that with the back of the fingernails when they strum that way. He, of course, is doing it with a pick, which sounded just fine. It worked just fine. And then with the individual notes afterwards in a rapid succession. So I dug it in a descending line. Now, everything about the song was great, man. Believe it or not, I dug the song. I think the song was really well done. I think the biggest thing is I enjoyed listening to it. Even as a rough cut, I enjoyed listening to it. And to be perfectly honest, I would listen to this again. I would. And it's, for me, number one, being a rough cut. Number two, being John Frusciante, who I have a very serious love-hate relationship with. For me to say that I would listen to this song again, that's a huge compliment for John Frusciante. So yeah, I dug it, and I would absolutely listen to it again. I think it's a great song, and that's why we're going to stick with that 8.2, which is a great score. So, 8.2, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.